Hello and welcome to Mooks and Monsters. I'm Tim Niederreiter, and with me today is Brendan Nadeau. Welcome
Hello.
to the show. Oh, sorry. Welcome to the show.
Hello.
We're off to a good start. Anyway, Brendan is another game master. He's filling in for Rob Ward during Rob's continued hiatus from the podcast, and we're back from hiatus in general, so it's kind of an exciting time. Back from our summer break. And here we are. So, Brendan, tell the audience a little bit about your history with role-playing games.
Yeah, I started out with role-playing games probably in middle school. We started out with probably old school 4th edition D&D. I don't exactly remember which module we started out with, but I do remember explicitly it was 4th edition. From there, I didn't do too much in college with that, but after college, I got involved in their group I've been with for about 8 to 9 years, playing again 4th edition, and then once 5th edition came out, we started running with that. In 4th edition, I didn't run too many games, maybe because, as most people know, if they follow anything about RPGs, 4th edition was kind of convoluted and a bit obtuse. So when 5th edition came out, that was a big relief, and it was a good starter for me to start doing some DMing myself. I've just recently wrapped up not most recently, but in the last 3 months, I wrapped up a game of Curse of Strahd that went on for probably about 10 months. And it was pretty intense. It was. I mean, Strahd's always kind of serious, but I managed to make time for it was kind of funny in a very dark sort of way too. And then
a lot of RPGs are funny, right? I mean, it's a good time.
Yeah, it is a good time. And then currently that Strahd game turned into a World of Darkness game. This is the new World of Darkness, which is known by something else now. I don't remember what it is because they just recently they came out with a new. Mm-hmm. So it's new old World of Darkness, but there's another World of Darkness that's even older than that. So I don't even know at this point. I'm just going off what the books are saying, and we're all still really new to that sort of RP. So right now it takes place in 1980 Chicago, and it's pretty fun. We've only run one game so far, but so that stuff. And then I'm running starter set with another group. Pretty basic.
Starter set of D&D?
D&D, yeah, 5th edition.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, it sounds like you've been up to a lot more RPGing lately than I have. The last game I was in was actually game mastered. I was keepered. I forget what they call the game master in Delta Green. But it was a modern day Call of Cthulhu RPG, Delta Green. Ooh. And I played that over the summer with Rob Ward, but it was only one session that I got in on. It was really cool, and I had to Skype in. It wasn't ideal, but it was really fun.
Yeah, Call of Cthulhu, it's probably one of those games I might want to try to get into. I don't, any of those games that are not D&D. The reason why I want to get into a World of Darkness or maybe Call of Cthulhu or Mars D20. It's basically I wanted to, as much as I love D&D, especially 5th edition, because it's so really it's a lot simpler than some of the other stuff I've played, especially 4th edition. I just wanted to explore else what's out there, and so running World of Darkness is a new challenge unto itself. The damage roleplay system it's very unlike especially Strahd, which I ran. That's really story driven, whereas World of Darkness is very character driven. So the plot kind of takes a backstory to how our characters are interacting with the world around them, basically.
Okay, so it's more of a sandbox kind of vibe.
It is a sandbox, and basically the game I've got set up right now it's kind of silly, but again, everything's silly what I do. but it's a reverse isekai. Do you know what isekai?
Oh, yes. Well, but explain for the audience.
Yeah, so isekai is basically where a more recent example would be Rise in the Shield Hero, where a character is transplanted from their world, from Earth to another world. Konosuba, Rise in the Shield Hero, stuff like
Lots
that.
Lots of anime like that, yeah.
And anime.
Yeah, but there's also lit RPGs, technically that as well, and that's a fiction genre too. Yeah,
definitely. So basically, the end of my Strahd game, I had the characters transported to 1980 Chicago.
Okay.
And they are now very confused.
I was wondering how you made that transition from D&D, Ravenloft, Strahd, to Chicago 1980. Like, what?
Yeah, so it actually already in the game, the players have basically got in trouble with the police because they can't speak the language.
Oh, no. You're a harsh game master.
Well,
you can't speak the language.
Actually, what? Let me.
Sorry, go on.
They can't speak the language, so the police almost arrest them because they're all like wearing their weapons and armor, and they don't look anything. They don't look human. Because one of them's a tiefling, and then one of them's like a half orc. One of them, like in Strahd, he lost his legs, so he can't walk, and he literally just like falls on the ground. He can't walk anywhere, and this is pre ADA, so he literally can't go anywhere.
Wow. So at least he'll get a wheelchair. He can get a wheelchair now.
Yeah, he at the end of the game, he finally got a wheelchair. But what else happened was, so they were rescued by another character who, an NPC who got transported from Strahd to the World of Darkness world, and he bails them out. And along the way, they go to a church. It's a real church, St. Michael's in Chicago, and they get attacked by vampires. And then learn that they're part of a conspiracy. And then their contact in the conspiracy is Barack Obama.
Okay, so you are going pretty silly here.
Yeah, it's serious, but also like really silly.
That's really amusing. Like it could be. You can do serious things with a game that's really silly, but yeah, go on.
Yeah, and Barack Obama basically says that common in the D&D world is basically sounds like Chinese to them.
That's hilarious. I love that. But also, it makes sense. I think I know why. Can I guess why he picked Barack Obama?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's really easy to do impressions of Barack Obama.
That was part of the reason. So it like half.
If you know anything about the Midwest, if you've ever been in the Midwest, you can basically do a Barack Obama voice.
Yeah, I really do think I do. And he was saying like half the time I was doing like not half the time, but a lot of time I was doing a really bad Barack Obama impression.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even want to do mine here. But I've heard some great ones that are pretty simple online.
Yeah,
it seemed pretty easy anyway, and you can get a good idea because if you just use some of his catchphrases, like "Let me be clear," it's pretty easy.
Yeah, so he did a lot of that. He's like, "Let me be clear, the vampire menace is pretty quite substantial in Chicago at the moment."
Oh boy, yeah, geez, and I guess it makes sense because it's Chicago, and he was.
I made the timelines like match up. He was in Chicago at the time this game takes place.
Oh, right, okay, that makes perfect sense. Yeah.
So I really
it's way back.
Yeah.
Compared to now.
And then like one of the characters like has fallen in love with Ronald Reagan. So.
Oh no. Anyway, enough about this. We're getting to politics. Sorry. Let's stop with the name dropping here.
Okay.
Presidents are off limits now. I should have made that clear beforehand. Anyway, no, it sounds like your game's really fun. Actually, it sounds really silly, but very amusing. And it's reminding me of some of the forum games I've read about. But we don't need to go to those because they're not. I didn't personally experience these, but they're like D20 modern games that involved like King Arthur and vampires from World War II, that kind of nonsense. Mm-hmm. Anyway, yeah, it sounds like you're really branching out though, and that's awesome. Also, really organic way to branch out. Let me just say that last thing. Because you're using the same characters from your previous game. Mm-hmm. That's neat.
Yeah, I wanted like just to have like some continuity because before like jumping into a completely new system that I don't know anything about, at least the characters can remain the same. If only literally in name only, because
everything else, all the rules have to change, obviously.
All the rules have to change, and I still don't understand like half the rules. So we're all like open to the books during the game, like what the heck is what is bashing damage? What does that even mean?
It reminds me of Spycraft 2.0, where it's like they've got all these different kinds of, like, what's bang damage? I mean, that's flash bangs. There's vacuum damage. It's really funny. There's so many different kinds of damage in that.
That is,
they all do different stuff. It's incredible. It's a crazy game, but it's also like the most crunchy D20 game ever created, probably.
Crunchy how?
As in the rules are extremely detailed.
Oh, okay.
Not my favorite thing in the world, actually.
Yeah,
I really respect Spycraft, but I don't really ever want to run it.
And that's what it's going on in World of Dark, or at least New World of Darkness, is the rules are very somewhat nonsensical, because again you're dealing with like humans and vampires and other supernatural beings, and I'm like, okay, great. Like, at least,
yeah, it's kind of like actually like the basis of like I was just recently picked up the Cyberpunk 2020 RPG.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and the basics of it are actually really simple. But then anything you need to do, but there's some aspects of the game that are almost unplayable because they're way too complicated. Like the internet, because this game was created in the 80s. And so they didn't know idea how the internet was going to work. So this different system for that. And it was really, really impractical to actually run it, apparently. I've heard Seth Skorkowski, who's been on the show before, he did a review of it on YouTube. Mm-hmm. And he said basically, no, we throw that chapter out and we replace it with these house rules somebody else came up with.
Yeah,
it's funny. It's one of those things. Like some games, especially older games, could be just really like bubble gum and tape and scotch tape to hold them together, kind of thing.
Yeah, playtesting was maybe not in the.
not always in the cards. No.
What's that?
Yeah, exactly. What's playtesting?
On the slide side, I am excited for Cyberpunk 2077 to come out, and because that is based on Cyberpunk 2020, and again, I don't want to make it into a gaming thing, but I really am excited for that to come out.
Oh, that's cool. I mean, we can talk a little bit about video games if you want to. I mean, and it is cool when traditional games, like, I mean, I was kind of thrilled when I still remember when Neverwinter Nights came out, the first one, because it's D&D. It is D20. It's 3rd edition D&D. Just that's it. Play that. But it's for the computer. I mean, not nearly as much fun because you don't play with your friends. At least I didn't.
Yeah.
But it was still, it's a kind of, or like Knights of the Republic was also a D20 game.
Yeah.
So at the time, I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, KOTOR is probably a really good implementation of a roll 20 game in video game form, basically.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. It's Star Wars D20, just way slimmed down and simplified and probably balanced a little better, honestly. Although all the Star Wars games have that trouble with, well, Jedi are basically just more powerful than other characters. How are you going to show that?
Yeah. So like how can you really demonstrate it without them like literally wiping the floor in every encounter,
Yeah, exactly.
Ever. So
and how can you have a party member that's not a Jedi, even though that's how the movies always are, right? There's plenty of party members that aren't Jedi, but then there are almost always going to be at least one who is. So that's rough. That's tough to keep. I mean, maybe if you can just agree well and your players will enjoy that kind of thing, that probably works out. But since Jedi are better at just about everything than everyone else, kind of rough. If you want to balance a game like that.
Yeah. Well, not after Order 66. So.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah.
Oops. What Jedi?
But see, like, whatever. Not going to split hairs here. Because in all the movies, there's a Jedi. That's all I'm saying. Except for Rogue One. And Solo, I assume.
Solo.
I haven't seen Solo. But in all the main movies, there's some Jedi. And there's not many Jedi. So not most people aren't going to be playing them. Anyway. It's one of those challenges that if you're trying to... It's actually the challenge of any, not to go too far off into the weeds here, but any fantasy or like chosen one kind of story concept, like Harry Potter. Only one player could play Harry Potter who was an RPG, and I'm not getting stuck playing Ron. Come on.
Yeah, it's how how do you balance, your I mean, of course, Harry's the chosen one, but who's going to play, Neville Longbomb, who is actually almost supposed to be the. I find it amusing.
Supposed to, yeah.
I find it amusing that Neville was like supposed to be the chosen one, but
he flunked apparently.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just
it's
stuff like
it's
that.
Interesting. Anyway, so as far as your history with RPGs, you said you started back in middle school. It's a good long while.
Oh yeah. It was. I have vague memories of like I still lived on base at the time, and my parents in the military, so we lived on base. I remember going over one time to some person's house and we played fifth edition or not fifth or fourth edition, and like. So, again, like unlike normal D&D, shenanigans happened, like ending with someone like jumping off of another person while they were falling to get across the gap and somehow like defeating everyone in the room at the same time. It was really crazy. So yeah.
Yeah, it's always great when those early games can be. I didn't really know that was in the rules or not, right? Like, one of those things. Like, I just want to do this cool thing. Sounds neat at the time, and there you go. Also, is it true? Is it true they say that there's a lot of gaming goes on military bases? Because I've heard that.
There are because I have a friend in the military right now. It does go on. There's a lot of at least in the Air Force. There's a lot of like There's a lot of nerdy guys and gals in the Air Force. It would not surprise me. But yeah, even at this local I recently was cosplaying at a local convention here where I live, and there's tons of military guys, at the D&D station and looking around. So yeah, the military is full of weebs. So just think of that when you go to sleep. Our country is defended by weebs. So I hope that puts you to sleep, or pretty well.
Well, I can live with that. So so anyway, welcome to the podcast, Brendan. We don't have a lot more time here, but it's been awesome chatting with you, and hopefully we'll have you back for another episode soon.
Yeah, definitely. And you can follow me at on Instagram at Nadeau Nato 1949-4.
Well, that's not a gamer name. I'm sorry. Yes, it is. Okay. And as for this podcast, you can find us all at mentalcellarpublications.com. You can find the episodes in the archive at Libsyn. I forget the actual URL for that, but there you go. You can follow me on Twitter. I'm at TNeederwriter. You can follow Rob Ward, our absent host, on Twitter. I forgot his Twitter handle. However, you can follow him on Twitter, so you can. I will have his Twitter handle for you next week. I promise. So thanks everybody, and yeah, a little bit of a shorter episode today, but I think this is going to be good. I think we're looking at a bright future with a bunch more hosts, and Rob will be back soon. If you miss Rob and his awesome voice, don't worry about it. It's he'll be back shortly. I don't know how shortly, but we're gonna get some games going. I've got some big plans, even without Rob, and stay tuned, folks. Thanks for listening.